Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and we have quite the bit of news to talk about here on this wonderful Tuesday. The rain seems to have passed by where I live here in Western Pennsylvania, and the sun is out and shining as we start the live stream here tonight. Like I said, part of the news that we have to talk about today, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have re-signed one of their own, extending a key player of their secondary on a 2-year contract. We'll also talk about some Pittsburgh Penguins rumors and news, including them possibly making some trades here in the not-too-distant future. We'll talk a little bit about the Pittsburgh Pirates and the new series that they will begin tonight up in Detroit against the Tigers, and so much more. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Also, feel free to like and share this video and comment in the live chat right now on any thoughts, opinions, questions, concerns, whatever you have on your mind. Feel free to put those in there. I can pop those up on the screen at a moment's notice. We are going to kick off today with that news about the Pittsburgh Steelers and safety Deshon Elliott agreeing to a new deal. This right here, let me bring it up real quick, was reported by, I believe, Tom Pelissero. He was the first to break it last night. The Steelers and safety Deshon Elliott agreed to terms on a 2-year, $12.5 million extension with a little under $9.25 million of that guaranteed. After one of his best NFL seasons, Elliott finds a new home in Pittsburgh on a deal done by C.J. LeBoy and Quincy Payton at Wasserman, says Tom Pelissero. I couldn't have been more over the moon about this deal. It's not one that you're going to be jumping for joy, celebrating in the streets for, but it is one of those deals that you look at and you say, that right there is the right deal for the right person. Elliott has been amazing ever since he suited up in the black and gold. He had one hell of a season last year. Also fit in really nicely in the secondary alongside Minkah Fitzpatrick. We've been looking for a second safety back there who pairs well with Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's paired well with, a little bit of guys in his past. Terrell Edmunds, one of them. But one thing is that Terrell Edmunds didn't play good as Deshon Elliott. So the Steelers, they were looking for that guy, somebody who pairs well with Minkah Fitzpatrick, but also carries his weight and makes an impact play every now and again. That is what they got with Deshon Elliott there. He also gets a nice little pay raise in the Steelers. They lock up a key member of their secondary for the next couple of years. You wonder if there would ever be instability there. Don't know how long Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to hang around, if he is going to, regain some of his form and play up to the amount of money that he is getting paid. Also, behind Fitzpatrick and Deshon Elliott, you got Juan Thornhill, who's here on a 1-year deal. We'll see if he could, improve or continue playing well. He plays well, kind of like the Deshon Elliott. He bounced around a couple of places and he's done good, but not great in all of his spots. Hopefully he could, have a Deshon Elliott-like impact this year. But I like how we're keeping a member of the secondary, someone who has embraced the city of Pittsburgh, embraced the Steelers culture, plays like a Steeler is what we like to say. So Elliott, perfect guy to receive this contract, not getting paid too much. Dude who will stick his face in the fan, as you would say, and just the perfect guy that you want to keep around. And I think, honestly, you can make a case that he was the second best defender last year on that defense behind Cam Hayward. Welcome back, Deshon. He confirmed that he did sign this extension with the Steelers on Instagram last night, posting on his story, "Grateful to the Rooney family, Omar Khan, and Coach Tomlin for bringing me to Pittsburgh and giving me a home. Thankful to be extended for 2 more years to play for the best organization and in front of the best fans in the NFL." Great stuff there from Deshon Elliott. Obviously happy to find a little home here. I believe he was with the Ravens there for a hot minute, was also with the Miami Dolphins, but now he gets to, settle down and grow a little bit of roots here in the city of Pittsburgh. Like I said, outstanding player last year. Great tackling ability, was an absolute physical presence in that secondary, especially when he needed to come up and make the tackle. Just looking here at his stat line for last year, he was 28 years old. He'll be 28 years old this year. Was 27 last year, played 15 games for the Black and Gold, started 14 of those. One interception, which, cool that he got the interception. Would like to maybe see him get, one or two more, but hey, his tackling made up for that enough. Led the team with 108 total tackles last year, 72 of which were solo, 4 tackles for losses, 2 QB hits when he was up in the box and blitzing. Also had 6 pass defenses, 2 forced fumbles, and 3 fumble recoveries. So even when he was not necessarily intercepting the ball, he was always finding a way to make a play. Couldn't be happier again about this signing. Just one of those character players, a guy who's not going to be, a superstar on your defense, but is going to go out there. He's going to give you quality NFL level play and might make a play every now and again. He's going to be a regular starter in this offense for the next 2 years following this year, a 2-year extension for Deshon Elliott. And now we got to talk about what's next for the Steelers. Now, I'm going to be honest, when this news came across last night, I was a little shocked because literally hours earlier on the live stream from last night, I said, oh, this is the time in the NFL where everybody goes into vacation mode. They're off doing whatever. Not many people are in, practice facilities around the NFL. You'll see it quite the bit of a halt around moves going on around the league. So seeing this, that got me excited and maybe got me thinking that there's more to come here between now and when minicamp or when training camp begins here next month and the team reports back to St. Vincent College in Latrobe. You got to wonder now if there's anything else going to go on. Omar Khan seems to, not go on vacation right now. I wonder if, maybe a TJ Watt deal will get done now. The Standard, who also covers NFL news, they seem to think that the Steelers are going to push to finalize a new deal for TJ Watt ahead of their report to training camp on July 23rd. That'd be great news there. Just get TJ, sit down with him over this break, get a deal done with him, and make sure that he shows up to training camp in Latrobe here in just over a month. Also, maybe some other things that we could see coming down the pipe. Maybe that's not necessarily on our radars. Calvin Austin III, right now, Zach Azzani said he is the wide receiver too, kind of by necessity, but also Austin, pretty, good wide receiver in this offense, a guy who will do well when he is given an opportunity, has not shown that he's going to be an elite, threat out there in the offense, but he is going to pull his own weight. Maybe you see an extension get done with him. Just like if George Pickens was still here on the team, those two came out in the same draft class. Calvin Austin, this is the last year of his deal. He's going to be playing for a bag. If the Steelers maybe want to get out ahead of that, save themselves a little bit of money in case Austin has a big blow-up year, get him under contract, similar to something like what Deshon Elliott just got. 2-year deal, maybe a little bit more money because, just judging the disparities in pay for those positions, Elliott a safety, Austin a wide receiver. But hey, you give Calvin Austin a 2-year, sprinkle on a couple more million, $15 million deal. Give him about what you gave Elliott there, 9, 10 of that guaranteed. I think that you get out ahead of that as well. You want to get a deal done with Jaylen Warren as well, be my guest. Just thinking about some other, ideas going on about what they could do. We do not know, but there is hope out there that we are going to get some more action here on the Pittsburgh Steelers front in the, not too distant future. We won't need to wait until they go, till they all get back together to see more action. Deshon Elliott signs a new deal. Maybe more could be coming down the pipe here. We will have to wait and see. Excited to see if anything does happen in the coming weeks. Would like to get your guys' thoughts on the Deshon Elliott deal. What do you think? Are you happy that we get to keep a high energy, highly physical role player on the deal that we got him? Let me know in the comments below. And what do you think the next deal that the Steelers will get done will be? Let me know in the comment section. Let me take a quick stroll here through Twitter, see if we got anything new going on here since I've gone live. I did see something related to baseball just before I went live. A MLB insider coming up with a trade proposal that could see a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates bullpen go to the team that they are playing tonight. We will get to that in the more news segment of the program near the end of today's live stream. Looking here, not seeing much. Seeing lots of posts about tonight's NHL Stanley Cup Finals Game 6, could see the Florida Panthers for the second time in 3 years hoist the Stanley Cup. They're up 3-2 in the series. Could see former Penguin Evan Rodriguez get a Stanley Cup. Trying to think of if there's any other former Penguins on the Panthers. I don't think so. But Rodriguez, he could get a Stanley Cup tonight. And let's get into some hockey talk right now. Josh Yohe of The Athletic, he covers the Pittsburgh Penguins. He came out yesterday talking about Evgeny Malkin, this being his last year in the black and gold most likely, saying that Malkin necessarily will not retire after the upcoming season, but that the Penguins most likely will not be giving him a new contract offer. So we are going to need to just sit back, soak in any and all Evgeny Malkin, every little bit of Evgeny Malkin in a Pittsburgh Penguins uniform that we can. So more on that in the more news segment as well. Somebody responding on their thoughts about Malkin. But Yohe was back today with another article talking about trades that the Penguins could be making here soon. He says in a post on X, Kyle Dubas has stated that trades are likely coming. He then posted a list about potential Penguins who could be on the move. No real shock in his article, saying, really dividing up most members of the Penguins roster into various tiers here. Some not so obvious, or some obvious ones here. The section here where it says, these guys, if the Penguins can get anything for them, they're gone. You're seeing, fourth line guys like Noel Acciari, Kevin Hayes, both goalies, Alex Nedeljkovic and Tristan Jarry are a part of it. Ryan Graves as well. Also listed Ricard Raquel, Brian Rust. They are the only two in the It's Possible division, so he is not denying any reports out there from national insiders that the Penguins are shopping their top two wingers. Also put Erik Karlsson in a division of his own in the retention category. Would not be surprised if that is the only way the Penguins could get rid of Karlsson. They need to maybe eat a little bit of his $10 million salary to get him off the books and onto a new team. But just looking here at some other news and notes around the NHL, I believe this came here from Frank Saravalli. He says that the Utah Mammoth, took me a while to, remember their new name. The Utah Mammoth, they are in the market for a backup goalie. So just looking at what Yohe is posting there, looking at, I see a bunch about what other teams are thinking of doing in the NHL. Could that be a place for Tristan Jarry or Alex Nedeljkovic? Send them out to Utah. I could see that. Also, Utah, they have some young pieces. Lawson Krause, Matthias Michelli, he is a young winger there that seems to, not be really hitting at the pace they would like out there, producing at the pace they would like out there in Utah. So maybe you bring in a young piece to get a new scenery here in Pittsburgh. I could see a trade like that happening. Also, Saravalli, this is what is really interesting me. He reports that the Chicago Blackhawks, who currently hold the third overall pick in the upcoming draft here in about 10 days, they are looking to trade that for a difference-making player. Didn't necessarily say whether that was a defenseman or a forward, but I bet you that perked up Kyle Dubas's ears, because there was also a report a couple of weeks ago that Kyle Dubas, he is looking to move up in the draft to possibly secure one of the top prospects in this draft. Porter Martone is the most likely target of Dubas's. He is apparently very high on that young gentleman. Also, there's a couple of Swedes, Anton Frondell, Victor Eklund as well, Michael Misa, Radim Murka, a handful of prospects that the Penguins could have their eye on. Maybe they could be super aggressive and move up to pick number 3 to secure one of those. What they would give up to move up to number 3, quite a bit of length there between pick number 3 and pick 11. Looking for a difference-making player. Doubt you would, just be able to straight up package Erik Karlsson and pick number 11 to move up to 3, even if you did retain a good chunk of Karlsson's salary. Maybe instead Rickard Rakell. I don't want to get rid of Rakell or Brian Rust, but those guys would fit more likely the mold of what I think the Blackhawks will be looking for. They got young pieces: Frank Nazar, Connor Bedard, Lucas Reichel, some other, young pieces there. They really need, veteran playmakers to pair with this young nucleus that they have there in Chicago. Rust and Rakell would fit that mold. I wonder what the Penguins would give up to do that. I could see maybe either Rickard or Rakell or Rust, pick 11, and then maybe one of the various second or third round picks that the Penguins have to move up and get a player that they really like. I could see that, but something to keep your eye on there. Kyle Dubas, moves are going to get made soon. There seems to be a market out there for some various, pieces that the Penguins have, and some, there's pieces all around the league that the Penguins are interested in, young players and draft picks. We could see some fireworks here soon. The only thing that I think would work against the Penguins right now is that Chris Johnston, another NHL insider, he said that the NHL salary cap could go up even higher than the current projections, and that they could reach up to around the $118 million mark here in the next few years. So it's not going to go up right now. If it were to go up right now, the reason why I say that would probably be a negative for the Penguins is that Kyle Dubas, one of his favorite trades that he would like to make, that he likes making right now, is buying high number contracts for players that are underproducing from other teams, and getting some good young assets and prospects back in that case. So that would, hamper the Penguins. But another reason on the other side of why I think this could benefit the Penguins, they aren't going to be competing this year. As a matter of fact, I am slowly getting more aboard the idea of just completely flushing this year away. Even though it's Evgeny Malkin's last year, I get that, but we got to start looking to the future. Gavin McKenna is the prize that all of us should have our eyes on in the 2026 draft. So if we go out, sell off this season, go get Gavin McKenna, then in 2 years when the salary cap gets up to $118 million, you'll be at the end of Crosby's career there, but also at that point, you can push all your chips in. Kyle Dubas, while acquiring these picks and young players, he's saving salary cap space. He can then spend to his heart's desire at top players and build the Penguins back into what will hopefully be a championship contender after this upcoming season. Going to move along here with some more Penguins news. This is of lesser significance, but we talked about 2 signings that they made over the weekend yesterday. On yesterday's podcast, talked about the Penguins. They made 2 signings, signed prospect forward Melvin Fernstrom to his 3-year entry-level deal, and also 4th-line grinder forward Boko Amama to a 1-year deal. A similar deal was signed today by Una Koppanen, another, sort of 4th-line guy, bounced back and forth between the NHL and AHL. That came across the wire 5 hours ago from the Penguins. That Koppanen was signed to the exact same contract that Boko Amama agreed to, 1 year, $775,000 AAV. So wonder here, I'm going to click on the details here from the Penguins. I wonder if that is going to be a two-way deal to where Koponen can continue to bounce up and down between the NHL and AHL like what they have been doing with him. Koponen, he is 27, 6'5", 215 pounds. Appeared in 11 games last year with the Penguins and had just one goal, but in 56 games with Wilkes-Barre, he had 8 goals and 15 assists for 23 points. So tall, speedy Finn will return to the Pens. Again, like that deal. Can go grind out on the fourth line. Wouldn't mind seeing more bodies and players like him come into the fold, where if the Penguins, if they're going to, not do well this upcoming year, at least they can be as fast and physical, be entertaining in that way. I think Koponen and yesterday Boko Amama do fit that mold. Going to keep the live stream going here in a moment, but we'll reiterate once again, if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Also, feel free to like and share this stream and comment in the live section any thoughts and opinions that you have going on. Going to briefly touch on the Pittsburgh Pirates real quick. I'm going to take a look here on Twitter, see if anything is going on for them. What we do know, ladies and gentlemen, is that Joey Bart, as expected, is back with the team. The news came, I believe it was Noah Hiles of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette was the first to report that Joey Bart does have a locker in Comerica Park where the Detroit Tigers and Pirates will play here tonight. So as we expected with Brett Sullivan getting DFA'd yesterday, Joey Bart is back with the team, was off for about, I guess, around 2 weeks, had a concussion that knocked him out for about a week, and then he, of course, had to pass through all of the protocols that were required for him to return, so he is back with the team. No lineup yet for the Bucks. It will be Bailey Falter on the bump tonight. For the Bucks, let me see who the starter is for the Tigers here tonight. Falter looking to really give a lot of troubles to a Tigers team. 46-27 at one time this year, had the best record in the entire MLB, and really the Tigers, in my opinion, they are a team just like just what I think the Pirates at their best could be. They're a smaller market team, kind of like the Pirates, middle tier market, and they have done a tremendous job drafting and developing. They got a lot of young guys. Spencer Torkelson, Casey Mize was once one of their top prospects. He is the pitcher tonight for the Tigers. They also got some other young pieces. Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, Trey Sweeney. Jackson Jobe was one of their pitchers before. I think he's going to undergo Tommy John surgery now. So just the Tigers, a team that I think the Pirates, if they were to, get a competent owner and a, GM who has an idea of what he's doing, they could be just like the Tigers, a team that, can spend a little bit of money. That's all they need to do because they're good at drafting and developing everywhere else. And look at the Tigers. You're looking at one of the best teams in the MLB so far this year. Bailey Falter, starter for the Bucks tonight, 5-3 record, a 3.36 ERA with 46 strikeouts to 25 walks. Meanwhile, Casey Mize, 6-2 record with a 2.95 ERA, 55 strikeouts to 18 walks. Should be a good pitchers duel tonight. We'll see what lineup the Bucks will throw at the Tigers later on tonight. Now I am going to get into the more Pittsburgh news segment of the program. Feel free to get any thoughts, opinions, questions that you have in the comment section. Going to quickly go through all of these stories here. Let's move back into football here for a second. Joey Porter was recently on, I believe it was Cam Hayward's podcast, Not Just Football, and he went down memory lane a bit, talking about the Steelers' wild card round game against the Cincinnati Bengals back in 2015. Of course, that was an infamous game in Pittsburgh Steelers history. We all remember the hit Vontaze Burfict delivered to Antonio Brown that sent Antonio Brown's career in life really into a downward spiral. More news on Antonio Brown coming up here in just a minute. But Porter was on the Steelers coaching staff at the time. I believe he was a linebackers coach, and he went out to check on Joey Porter Jr. Antonio Brown at the time, and Porter ended up getting into a little bit of a shoving match scuffle with some Bengals players, and he opened up about what happened in that situation on Cam Hayward's Not Just Footballing podcast. His quote here: "I made the cardinal mistake. I tried to compliment a Bengal, and referee with the white hat had the boom mic. That's the reason why we never get in trouble, because the boom mic picked up everything. Yeah, they had everything. So when they tried to make the lies and all that, the referee had the boom mic. So everyone in New York heard exactly what happened, and they know I wasn't BSing. I told Perfect, I say, man, I'm not even supposed to say this, but I like your game. I actually like his game. He got some jankiness in him that I see in myself when he plays. He's ruthless. He plays like that." Then Porter, then got into a scuffle soon after. Didn't really get into too much details on that. Had to end up being held back by some referees, I believe. Adam Pac-Man Jones was in the scuffle there. Some other members of the Bengals defense. He continued, "I tell him, man, I like your game. I give him his compliment. He returned that compliment. I don't give an F about how you feel about my game. F you and F Pittsburgh. All right, so my bad for throwing you the compliment. You threw that right back at my face, and you didn't want my compliment." That was the other half of what Porter said on that. He continued, "Now I'm really smirking because I look up, it's Bengal, Bengal, Bengal. You ain't about to do crap. That's the funny part. I'm just smirking now. I can't mess up our leverage. Pac-Man comes running from way over yonder, don't even know what's going on. He pushed me. Burfict bumped me. Gilberry bumped me. So they ping-ponging me around. I'm laughing. But I'm in the safest place ever because ain't none of them really rough. Ain't none of them like that." Not going to say anything about, how Joey Porter might have been as a coach, but if we're talking about Joey Porter, if he was still as, big as he was in his playing days, Perfect, Pac-Man Jones, rest of the Bengals defense, good thing the referees were there and Joey Porter was cool, calm, collected, just smirking, because we all know how crazy peasy was. So just wanted to go reminisce on that, take a stroll down memory lane, really get a new idea about what happened in that whole scuffle. And the only downside of that, again, is, the situation that made that come up. Antonio Brown getting his head pretty much knocked off by Vontaze Burfict. Said we had some new news on Antonio Brown. He commented on the apparent attempted murder charges that he is facing. He claims that it is all made up. Also, believe I heard something that Antonio Brown, he isn't even in the United States right now. He is on vacation somewhere. I forget exactly where. But apparently this isn't, AB hiding in another country. Word out there is that he was on vacation before this warrant was made. So hopefully things come to a non confrontational resolve here once he gets back to the States. And, that things get better before they continue to get worse for Antonio Brown. Not the only, Steeler or former Steeler player going through it. Also saw another thing, Terry Bradshaw. Not sure what airport this was, but apparently Bradshaw, he was a little upset that TSA nabbed him in an airport recently. Had to end up getting, brought off to the side. Had a thorough check of his body and his baggage. Made a comment saying that, this was all ridiculous. Also made a crazy joke saying they must think that I'm a Unabomber or something like that. Airport, really not the place to make that joke there, Terry, but looks like everything's all cleared away with him. He just got a little annoyed, kind of like how most people do when, TSA gets in their way of, carrying on with their day. I think he is going to be in Pittsburgh soon for a wine bottle signing. I didn't know Terry Bradshaw honestly had a wine until I heard of that. So that's it for Pittsburgh Steelers portion of this final news segment here today. Real quick, let's go to the comment section. Raul Havana, welcome, Raul. Browns have agreed to retire Sanders' number after he fails to make the practice squad. Yeah, the number 12 will live in infamy in the Cleveland Browns halls there. Shedeur Sanders, just the Browns, they're a complete mess. First off, like the whole joke about Shedeur Sanders getting his number retired. Imagine you're the University of Colorado and you knew that this was absolutely Dion, hyping up his kid even more. Retiring the number of Shedeur Sanders before he even, gets drafted, that's crazy. I could maybe understand a little bit Travis Hunter getting his number retired because first Heisman Trophy winner in Colorado history, I believe. That's cool. But as for Shedeur, that's crazy retiring his number. Especially, I think, talking Steelers here, Cordell Stewart went there. And, I think Cordell, he's up there for one of the best players to come out of the University of Colorado, but shocked he isn't, retired. I don't even know if he's in the Colorado Buffalo Hall of Fame, honestly. Also, the Browns, they're just a mess. Having a 4-quarterback competition, that I think it's safe to say that in some capacity, if they carry 3 quarterbacks on their roster, Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel are going to make it. It's really a competition between Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, and if whichever one of them doesn't make it, who the hell knows what's going to happen. Also, the Browns themselves coming out with a chart telling who threw what, however many touchdowns and however many interceptions in minicamp. That is low level, bottom of the barrel little brother actions there from one of the worst franchises in NFL history. I got to tell you there, Raul. Be hilarious however way this season goes for the Browns, whoever their quarterback is when they come to Pittsburgh, because it's either going to be, in my mind, it'd be hilarious if it's Kenny Pickett. Also would be hilarious if it's somehow by then Shedeur Sanders. What would be very poetic, though, just thinking about it. What if, I'm not wishing this. God, I hope it doesn't happen. If, say, for some reason Aaron Rodgers were to get injured, Mason Rudolph were to get injured, what if we get Shedeur Sanders versus Will Howard at some point this season for the Steelers and Browns? That'd be crazy. Did the Steelers make the right selection in the later rounds of the draft, or are they going to regret not taking Primetime Junior? Back to the more news segment that we have going on here. Back into the hockey world. Did mention earlier Josh Yohe and his article that came out yesterday about this upcoming season being the final for Evgeny Malkin as a Pittsburgh Penguin. We did get a response from another Pittsburgh Penguins news reporter today, Dan Kingerski of Pittsburgh Hockey Now. He gave his opinion and his thoughts on the situation about Malkin and this upcoming season. Part of his article here, one source in Malkin's camp indicated that the Penguins sought to reassure Malkin that conversations on his future beyond next season have not occurred. Malkin's camp declined to speculate about the future beyond this upcoming season, but referred to any news about Malkin's future as bad info. So we have a bit of a source off here between Dan Kingerski and Josh Yohe. I don't necessarily think that, Yohe is, using sources. I think he's just using his judgment, kind of reading the room of a beat writer for a rebuilding franchise, saying like, hey, Malkin's contract's up after this year. Penguins, the organization as a whole, they seem to be moving into the future. Part of moving into the future is letting go of some of the past. But we'll see here. Dan Kingerski, I thought it was interesting piece from him, and saying that Malkin's camp is, not speculating on what Yohe reported, and that anything that you hear right now about Malkin's future is bad info. So calling out a bit of fake news right here from Malkin's camp. We'll see how things continue to play out here throughout the offseason. I do think that you will not see Evgeny Malkin sign any sort of contract extension unless things surprisingly go really, really well this upcoming season for both Gino and the team. But we will see how things have to play out the rest of this offseason and to kick off next season. A bit of a somber news piece here related to the Penguins. Steve Reich, he was an agent for a handful of former Penguins players like Mario Lemieux, Kevin Stevens, Ron Francis, and Tom Barrasso. He unfortunately passed away. This from Q2 Sport or Q2K Sports Management. They released a statement on the passing of Reich. With heavy hearts, we share the sad news that Steve Reich has passed away. Steve was a terrific father, a loyal friend, an exceptional agent, and a wise and generous mentor to so many. His impact on our lives and on the lives of those he guided, supported, and inspired cannot be overstated. He approached every relationship with integrity and every success with humility. His legacy will live on in the countless people he touched. Then they said that their thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends during this difficult time. Going to be completely honest here. Didn't know much about Steve Reich before today. Listening to various news outlets who knew him. Sounds like he was a good man. So my thoughts and prayers go to his family. Also, Pittsburgh native, grew up in Scott Township, graduated from Chartiers Valley. Seth Rohrabaugh mentioning that bit of information. Also, he represented another Penguins or Pittsburgh native in Vinny Trocheck, forward for the New York Rangers. So R.I.P. Steve Reich. My condolences to him and his family. Bit of news here that came down during the live stream here. Chase Patilla was named an academic all-district team member for Michigan Tech. Michigan Tech hockey posting that right now. Patilla was a fourth-round pick by the Penguins in 2024. Congratulations to him on receiving that accolade. And I believe I said this at the beginning of the live stream tonight. Not related to the Penguins, but hey, it would speed up the process of getting some more NHL news in the cycle. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. The Florida Panthers will host the Edmonton Oilers. They will look to secure the Stanley Cup, win it back-to-back championships. This is their third Stanley Cup Finals appearance in 3 straight years. So they're looking to go back-to-back, just like the Tampa Bay Lightning before them, and just like the Pittsburgh Penguins even before that. So we'll see if they get it done tonight. See if former Penguin Evan Rodriguez will hoist the Stanley Cup. Last bit of news here today. Did mention that we had a bit of news here about an MLB insider proposing a possible trade that the Pirates could make. So it is Jim Bowden of The Athletic, this from Pittsburgh Baseball Now. He says that the Pirates, they could trade David Bednar, former All-Star closer for the Bucks, who has after a rough start to the season and a rough 2024 season, he has regained some form. They could trade him to their opponent tonight, the Detroit Tigers, for outfield prospect Chris Rodriguez. Didn't know much about Rodriguez. Then I scrolled down in the article here. Rodriguez is the number 8 prospect in the Tigers organization after signing with them for over $3 million out of the Dominican Republic. He is 6'3", 203 pounds, a 17-year-old currently playing in their Dominican Summer League, hitting .390 in that league. So that's impressive. 5 doubles, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. Not ready to necessarily sell off David Bednar yet. I probably would do it up closer to the trade deadline, maybe see if there would be a higher offer, for him. He's really come back into form. I think he has found the magic that he had when he was an All-Star. Will he lose it again? Very possibility that there's a good possibility that could happen. Also, there was, this whole thing about Bednar in the past that the Pirates, they had a trade done for him, but that Bob Nutting vetoed it. Bob, I know you love keeping around Pittsburgh guys. I mean, Bednar, he kind of lost a bit of the fan base here, a bit of his, hometown swag, as you would say, in the past few years. You can't veto that trade now. If there's something for him, you gotta give him up. There's tons of young pitchers in the pipeline coming up. Braxton Ashcraft, he's done a hell of a job in the bullpen, even though he's a starter. Carmen Majinski's back up here. You got to see what you have in Kyle Nicholas. There's also some younger pitchers still down in the minor leagues. Bubba Chandler will be coming up soon. That might knock Mike Burrows to the bullpen. Not sure how Thomas Harrington, if he'll, wind up being a starter or a relief pitcher. Eddie Yean is a guy who could be a September call-up, late season call-up candidate. So we'll see if Bednar is on the move. We'll see if anybody else in the Pirates will be on the move here in the coming months leading up to the trade deadline. If that trade would eventually happen, I'd be okay with it, honestly. Wouldn't want to sell off Bednar with the way he's pitching lately for, just a lottery ticket in some teams, bottom, outside their top 30 or, 20 or lower prospect. So if we can get a top 10 prospect for David Bednar, I'd do it. Let me take one more scroll here through Twitter, see if we got anything else going on before the live stream wraps up for tonight. Again, first pitch for the Bucks and Tigers tonight. That is at 6:40. And now we do have the starting lineup for tonight's ball game. O'Neal Cruz in center field, Andrew McCutchen designated hitter, Brian Reynolds in right field, Spencer Horwitz at first base, Nick Gonzalez will play at second base, batting fifth. Joey Bart, fresh off of the IL, he is going to be back in the lineup immediately, catching tonight, batting sixth. Adam Frazier, again, moving back out to left field. No Tommy Pham or Alexander Canario in the lineup tonight. Adam Frazier, in his bat, will remain in the lineup in left field. Brian Hayes at third base, batting eighth, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at shortstop and batting ninth. Bailey Falter on the mound, as we discussed already. Decent lineup, as good as a lineup as the Bucks are going to get right now with the current personnel that they have. Would maybe like to see, Alexander Canario, get him back out and left. Don't know why his play time has been cut in recent weeks. I get Adam Frazier had a hot bat for most of last week, but, wasn't really impressed in what I saw from him in the Chicago Cubs series. Maybe start, putting Canario back in there. I also get, Canario a righty hitter versus Frazier a lefty. But still, get Canario in there. You got to see what you got in him. Showed some promise ever since when, Don Kelly first took over the job as manager. Like to see him continue get more and more reps. So that is the Bucks starting lineup here tonight. Taking a one more stroll here through Twitter. Robert Murray, MLB insider for Fansided. A bit of news on former Pirate and 45-year-old pitcher Rich Hill. Robert Murray saying that Rich Hill did not opt out of his minor league contract with the Kansas City Royals. But if Hill is not in the majors and another team is willing to offer a major league contract, Kansas City will quote, not stand in his way. So Rich Hill, he is going to stay active in baseball. He's not going to just go sit on his couch, opt out of his minor league deal with the Royals. And if a team comes knocking his way, if they need a lefty pitcher, a left arm, not sure how much miles are left on that arm, but maybe Rich Hill, he could hop on the back end of a team's rotation or get in their bullpen maybe for a playoff team here at the end of the season. Who knows? Still looking here at more news. Just seeing a lot of Rafael Devers on my page here. Still a lot of fallout from that big blockbuster trade that the Boston Red Sox made, sending their best player in Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants. Apparently, Devers had his introductory press conference today. He will wear number 16. Interesting. Also seeing a lot of videos today from the Major League Draft Scouting Combine, which Derek Shelton is a part of for MLB Network. Seeing a lot of videos from different prospects down there, looking at potential future Pirates. Karsten Sabathia, son of Major League Baseball pitching legend CC Sabathia. There's JoJo Parker, the number 10 prospect. Seeing lots of different prospects here. Wonder where the Bucks are going to go in the draft here soon. Are they going to... They can't continue pitcher, can they? I mean, Ben Cherington, you got no bats in the pipeline except for Connor Griffin, really. How about maybe just continuing to add to that? You got to hit on, a batter sometime. Still all aboard fast tracking Griffin to the big leagues. See what else is going on here. Not seeing much of anything else. More Deshon Elliott, reactions on Twitter. Seeing a lot of positivity around that. Also, happy National Mascot Day. Seeing a bunch of those posts here on Twitter. Iceberg, Pirate Parrot, Steely McBeam. Happy Mascot Day to you guys. All right, I think that is going to do it for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. First pitch now about 50 minutes away for the Pirates and Detroit Tigers. Game 1 of what I believe is just a 2-game series, if I'm not mistaken. If it is a 3-game series, they're probably looking at a 6:40 start time for each. It is a 3-game series. My fault. 6:40 today, 6:40 tomorrow, and then a 1:10 game on Thursday. So that is going to do it here today. We'll see how the Bucks do here tonight. Hope you all enjoyed the rest of your evening. For one final time, if you are new here, please like and share and comment on this video after the fact. Subscribe to the channel as well. Turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Appreciate you all for joining me. Let's see what the Bucks can do tonight if they can bounce back. Covered a lot today. Deshon Elliott will be a Pittsburgh Steeler beyond this season. Pittsburgh Penguins about to make some moves, and Joey Bart is back for the Bucks, along with so much more. Thank you for joining me. Have a great night, everyone. I will see you back here around the same time tomorrow between 5 and 6 o'clock is when the live stream will start for some more Pittsburgh sports news. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone. Peace.